Acroasis XV on the imperfect and future forms of sum. Recognitio, de temporibus, on the tenses. You remember that Latin has 6 tenses. Those tenses are present, imperfect, future, perfect, pluperfect, and future perfect. We haven't learned the last 3, but you have learned present, imperfect, and future. Remember that the present relates to things that are happening right now, nunc. The imperfect is a little more complicated. It relates to actions, circumstances in the past, especially those that were ongoing, such as attempts, or you kept doing something, or you were trying to do something. The future is a very simple concept. It relates to anything that will happen. I shall go to the store. You will come with me. Now, the imperfect of sum, just like the present forms of sum, is irregular. Let's take a look at those. I will say each form, and then say it again, and when I say it the second time, say it with me. Eram, eram, eras, eras, erat, erat, eramus, eramus, eratis, eratis, erant, erant. The translation of the imperfect is very easy. We can use the simple past in English. I was, you were, he, she, or it was. We were, you were, they were. Now, even though the imperfect of sum is irregular, we see that it is irregular in a very regular kind of way. That is to say that it has that same stem, era, which repeats all the way through. And you'll notice that in other verbs, to make the imperfect, we add the infix ba, and so we have that a appearing in the imperfect of sum and in the imperfect of other verbs. Era and ba. We also have a little song that we can sing in order to remember the imperfect of sum. It's based on a melody that you probably know. It's the folk song Jarabe Tapatio, or better known to Americans as the Mexican Hat Dance. Now bear with me while I sing my own version with eram, and I'll ask you the second time around, try it with me. We'll do it more in class. Eram, eras, erat, eramus, eratis, erant, eram, eras, erat, eramus, eratis, erant. Let's try that one more time. Eram, eras, erat, eramus, eratis, erant, eram, eras, erat, eramus, eratis, erant. A little silly, but it will stay in your mind. Let's move on. The future of sum, just like the imperfect of sum, just like the present of sum, is also irregular. Let's take a look at it. As I say each form, repeat it back with me. Ero, ero, eris, eris, erit, erit, erimus, erimus, eritis, eritis, erunt, erunt. Now take a moment, pause the video, and write these down in your notes. Now, just as the translation of the imperfect of sum was very simple, so is the translation of the future of sum. Ero can be I shall or I will, and we can use a similar translation for all the other forms. You will, he will, we will, they will. Very easy, very straightforward. Likewise, just as we've seen for the future for other verbs, bo, bis, bit, bimus, bitis, bunt, we say ero, eris, erit, erimus, eritis, erunt. And again, that o, i, u. So there is a pattern that you can recognize, but again, it is irregular and will need to be memorized. Recognitio, on the uses of sum. you are already familiar with the linking function of the verb to be. It functions the same in English as it does in Latin. We link the subject to its predicate, whether that predicate be a noun, also in the nominative case, or an adjective in the nominative case. So, for example, agricolae sunt avari. The farmers are greedy. Belli pericola erant mala. The dangers of war were evil. Sapientia tua erit tua gloria. Your wisdom will be your glory. In each case, it's easy to see the link which is being made. However, there is another use of sum, and it's very simple, and we do the same thing in English, which is to say that we use sum and the verb to be to show existence. So, for example, we have in agris sunt pauci agricolae. Now, what I want you to notice is that we have a subject in the nominative case that comes after the verb. This is one of those times in Latin when word order is going to make a slight difference in sense. In English, we would render this, in the fields, there are a few farmers. In the fields, there are few farmers. Notice we're simply stating the existence of the farmers. Looking at an example with the imperfect tense, erant multa belli pericola. There were many dangers of war. Notice again, we use the adverb there in order to help us express this idea in English, but otherwise we do the same thing. And then last, with an example in the future tense, non erit sapientia in stultorum verbis. There will not be wisdom in the words of the foolish. Again, we are using that verb to show us simply that there is the existence of something, or in this case, non erit, there is not the existence. Well, that's all I have for you tonight. I'm going to put up on the screen the link to your Google form so that you can answer those questions and show me that you were paying attention and taking good notes. I will see you next time. Valete omnes.